Welcome to MFAA On Air.
When Ian Robinson at Robinson Sewell and Partners was approached by a cotton grower whose business was having a liquidity crisis, the Equipment and Commercial Finance Credit Advisor took the business to tender and found a backer. MFAA On Air spoke to Ian about the challenges the company faced during the restructure and refinance and his top tips on managing the process.
One of the primary drivers for the initial contact with Robinson Sewell Partners was the fact that they were approaching a liquidity squeeze within the business, and that's a normal part of the cyclical arrangement with cotton growing, and especially with a business that's expanding. The bank manager and the bank that they were actually working with or partnered with within the business were closing down all their regional offices, and it meant that the business and the client had lost access to their funding line. And at such a critical time in the business, of both from a cyclical point of view and production point of view and also an expansionary point of view, it was a perfect storm. So when working with the client and actually going through the due diligence process, I realised that the client's structuring and requirements weren't that straightforward. As I mentioned before, there was a lot of entities involved and a lot of different enterprises, and a lot of moving parts in the sense that this business was it wasn't static, it was definitely in a transitional phase of growth. And not only that, but because of the structure, we had private investors involved as well, and just by the pure nature of the way that it was all tied together, meant that it was really important to be able to put that structure in a format that the banks could understand, but not only just understand, but they can actually then capture and recognise from a security and cash flow point of view. But probably another sort of major component of the complexities of the client and overcoming it was the interactions that we needed to manage all the counterparties involved and making sure they're all working collaboratively together to achieve the client outcome, which was a funding solution. So we're talking about working with Old Bank, which has now closed its doors, so we're talking interstate communication, new banks, and all the client's advisors, so accountants, legal advisors, the consultants, etc., and all coming together to put the presentation in a format that we can then take to the banks. So through all that process, the client had a fantastic win in the sense that aligned with a new bank and a new bank manager that set the foundation for growth. He had access to the liquidity he needed to work for seasonal purposes and for expansion. But from an economic viewpoint as well, the client saved over 100 grand per annum on interest savings, and through our negotiations with the Old Bank, we managed to waive over 50 grand worth of breakage fees to move to new bank. Yeah, so what we found out of the process, and I think it would be beneficial for all credit advisors, including ourselves going forward, is that first doing all the due diligence up front, doing all the heavy lifting and making sure that you've got a complete understanding and a full authority over the client's business. Also, isolation should never be a problem. I mean, we make a special effort to go and see the client, especially out on farm and on business. It makes the client a lot more comfortable. And the final point I'd like to make as well is that when we do complete a project, and generally the bulk of the project is from inception all the way through the settlement, but even after settlement we'd still have a very strong ongoing relationship with the client, because we understand that banks and bank culture do change over time. A client's business is evolving, it changes over time, so effectively there could be further requirements or departures of expectations over a long period, and constant communication and interaction with the client can make sure that the client relationship with the bank is maintained.
You've been watching MFAA On Air.